to the podcast. It's your girl Shelly Nicole with the Remedy Podcast. I know, so delayed. Why the hell did it take me this long to make another episode? Well, life. That's what happened. Life. And you know, sometimes life will tell you to calm down, sit down, don't do anything, or will interfere. So, that's what I did. Oh God. Now I'm yawning. I've been so tired the last few days. That time of the month. Ladies, y'all know what I mean. So, the tiredness, the crankiness, the headaches, wanting to eat, but nauseous. The whole symptoms. I'm telling you, like, men, just be happy that you don't have to deal with this. Because y'all can't even handle being sick. Let alone a sprained ankle or a fucking pulled muscle. You guys would tap out if this was you. Nonetheless, I took a hot shower. I ordered some pho, so it should be on its way. And I'm gonna lay down and relax. I was gonna help my friend move, but yeah, I have one good arm. That's another thing. I'm still recovering from me pulling my damn tendon in my left arm in the gym and cramps. So go figure. Just down for the count. So I said, let me record my damn episode, because if I don't, it's gonna be another week and then I don't do it. So we're gonna jump right into it. This is the second episode of the Her 30 Journeys series, part 2. You're not late, you are where God says you're supposed to be. And this is really for everybody who feels like they're behind. And I think I made an episode about this possibly 2 years ago, a year ago, where I, myself, and a few other people that I know were kind of in this motion of feeling like they weren't doing enough. Feeling like, what is going on? What should we be doing? Second guessing what God has planned for us. And as my relationship with God continues to grow and it continues to mature, and I'm more enlightened by every day something changing, my perspective changing, what I want to do, how I feel about certain people, certain events, just everything that's basically happening. I could see God shifting in my life the way that I wanted him to, but also what benefits me in his vision. So having that thought, it was always me feeling like, okay, maybe I'm behind. Here I am now, 35, not married, no kids. And it's like, damn, 10 years ago, I told myself that I would have been married, had kids, and like life would be completely different. Be well in my career, and it would be, completely different. But that's not the case. It's not exactly how I thought I'd see it. But nonetheless, changing your perspective. Maybe it's not the fact that we're behind, but maybe it's the fact that we are where we're supposed to be. Maybe there's a lesson in the waiting. Maybe we're supposed to be in this space that we're in because we have to learn something to make ourselves better for our future, for the love that we want, for the career that we want, for the finances, the financial freedom that we want. And there's something in this waiting period that God puts us in to tell us, listen, I didn't forget about you, but you also need to pay attention to what it is I'm saying. And while before I begin the episode, I used to say, well, if you're not a spiritual person or if you're not a believer of God, then you don't need to listen to this episode. But I do feel like if you are not a believer of God and you're not in your spiritual area, then you need to be. You need to get there, because if you're not taking note of everything that's happening, or you're keeping your eye just strictly on entertainment purposes of what's going on in this world, then I need you to tap in, because there's a shift happening. There's a lot that's happening that was said that was going to happen in the Bible that is coming to fruition now. And if you are not catching up, or you're not trying to figure it out, I don't know what to tell you. Let this be a warning. For many women, turning 30, it kind of feels like this deadline, right? Like this invisible deadline. By 30, you're supposed to have a career. Like I said, the husband, the house, the children, the body, the money, the friendships, the purpose, the perfect life, the cars, the whole thing. But once we get to 30 and we realize, damn, none of that has happened. What happened to all of what we were supposed to have happening by this timeline that we made, and it's not here? You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're not running out of time, although it seems like we are because the years is flying by. Your timeline simply doesn't look like the one you thought it would be. But this is where God intervenes. So I want you guys to ask this question for yourself. What did you think your life would look like by 30? I know for me, by 30, like I said before, I really told myself at 25 that I was going to start my whole family. I was going to be married by like 27, have kids, a condo or a house, something that was going to look completely different from what I'm living right now. And when I now reflect on it at 35, I turned 35 in June, for those of you who didn't know, looking back at those years of me saying that I wanted to have kids and I thought I would be married and the whole bit, there would have been so much more that I would have missed out on had that had happened. It's not to say that it won't happen at all, but when you do have children, when you do get married, you kind of have to put certain things to the side, because it's now more about your husband, it's more about your children, it's more about building that life. Whereas being single, doing what you want, or even just dating, you do what you want. You travel, you experience new things, you can freely go to restaurants, you can basically live. Sorry if you guys hear me yawning, I'm extremely tired, but we're getting this done. We're getting it done. But by that time is exactly what I thought would happen. I thought I would have been in a different career than the one that I was in. I told myself that I was supposed to be in NYPD and supposed to be like a detective by that time. Didn't happen. So, working where I work now, while it's not the best, but it's not terrible, it still aligned somewhat with my degree and what it is that I went to school for. But it isn't what I thought I would be in for as long as I've been in. And if we're being honest, yes, I take some accountability towards it because I got comfortable. Which I think a lot of us at the time, we get comfortable where we are and we just think like, okay, this is life. This is what, like where life has me right now, and I could possibly move forward, but hey, if I don't, then it's okay if I don't. But at some point, I started to feel like I was behind when I started to see not just other friends, but other people, I guess, social media, who were my age that had the same things that I wanted, but for whatever reason, it wasn't working out the way that I wanted it to work out. Yes, I went to therapy. Yes, I was, my friend groups had changed. I had different perspectives of life. I was traveling. I was doing everything. And I started to feel like, well, shit, when is my timeline going to catch up to what it is I want? Like, when is it all going to happen? And even now, at 35, once I turned 35, and my mother had asked me, what do you want for this year? And I said, everything has to be with intention. I have to be more disciplined, put more intention out there of what it is that I want, and not pay attention to what everybody else has going on at this age, but only what Michelle has going on for this age and what I can do. It wasn't bad that I didn't get, or it's not bad that I didn't get exactly what I wanted at the time that I said I wanted it. Because the thing is that God knows exactly when to hand us what it is we're asking for. And if we get it too prematurely, we'll end up messing it up. So maybe if I was a mom at the age of 25 or 27, like I wanted to be, I wouldn't have experienced life the way that I've experienced it now. If I was a mom, I probably would have had issues with my child's father, whoever it was at the time. Maybe things wouldn't have worked out the way that I wanted it to work out and how I had it planned in my mind of wanting to get married and wanting to have kids and having that whole setup. But also what I need to do for myself, who I needed to change and where I needed to become. But let's not forget that society also tells us that somewhere between childhood and adulthood, that we're convinced that by 30, that's the finish line. And I think that's because we were told that from our parents, from our grandparents. Think about it. Our parents, for a majority of us, had us in their mid to early 30s, if not 20s, some teenage years. Our grandparents had us, well, not us, but had our parents in their 20s, teenage years. And their parents probably had them in their late teenage, early 20 years. And as the time continues to go on, pregnancy and having children became an earlier and earlier time because that's when, your eggs are the most vital in those decades. But now you see women having children, getting married, finding the love of their life in their 40s, their 50s, having their first child at 35, 36, 37. Some even in their 40s, 41, 42, having their first kid. And it's because society has changed. The cost of living has changed. The fact that now in relationships, we're holding each other accountable. We're pointing out red flags, which was never really a thing. No one ever really pointed out anybody's bad dirt or bad laundry. It may have stayed within the household. People close to the home knew. But now, everyone's airing out everybody's shit. Some people even airing out their own shit. And showing red flags prior to even getting into a relationship. So the pressure of having it all figured out really comes from society that creates this invisible milestone. And social media, like I said, it just makes it worse. You open up Instagram and you instantly see somebody got engaged, somebody's on their third child, someone's buying a house or a condo, someone's buying land, someone's gotten promoted, somebody launched a business, someone else is traveling the world, is on their 7th country within the last 7 months. Someone's showing their perfect, quote unquote, relationship. And suddenly, now you're starting to question your own life. You start this whole comparison trap, right? Their life looks like it's moving. Mine, it looks like it's just standing still. But the real problem is this. You're comparing your behind the scenes to somebody else's highlighted reel. And you have to understand that Instagram and TikTok, they're not real. Social media is not a real place. You don't know what they sacrifice. You don't know what they went through. You don't know whether or not they're happy. You don't know if they even prayed for it. You don't even know how they got this. What they had to endure to even get to the position that they're in. Whether what they have is even what God has for you. So you have to stop questioning and stop comparing your life to somebody else's. Because maybe it's just not in your timeline. Maybe that's just something that you're not supposed to have it at this moment. Maybe one day. But right now, maybe this is your time to marinate. Maybe this is your time to let the seasonings get within your skin, within your soul, to understand what it is that you need to do to make yourself better, to get to the place that you want to get to. So, who really created the deadline? And this is where I feel like our conversation can actually get deeper. So, I want you guys to answer this, right? Who told you that you had to be married by 30? I'll answer my own questions. I told myself that I had to be married by 30. The fuck? Like, I told myself 27 was my cutoff. And, well, my 25 was my cutoff at 18. And then I was like, by 30, if I'm not, then oh well. The other question is, who told you that motherhood had to happen by a certain age? I think we were all told this by our biology teacher. And I think also just from our family members too, right? We're telling us, like, you know, your eggs are you're getting up there in age. By this time, it's like you can't have kids by that time, and it gets more complicated, and it's kind of like terrified us into thinking that, oh God, if you have kids by 30, you're gonna be an old mom, or your eggs are not gonna be that good. Who told you that your career has to be established by 35? I think now we're feeling as though it has to be because you have teenagers getting rich off of just streaming. Every day, just online streaming what they're playing, what they're doing, day in the life, how to do. And I think that makes us feel like, and when I say us, I mean everybody within their 30s who feel like, this is not the life that I want to live, feel like, well, shit, we missed the mark. Because if we're being honest, all the millennials, and even those who are not even just millennials, but I would say the brunt of us millennials, we're told that to go to college, you get a good career, you find the love of your life, you live happily ever after. That was how we seen it kind of portrayed to us as our older cousins or older siblings who are in their 40s and 50s showed us. And then what our parents told us as well, how it happened for them. But when social media came to light and people were making money off of social media, it started to feel like, what's a career? For real. Like, honestly, what's a career if all I could do is just pull out my phone and show you guys what I'm doing all day? People are making money off of that. Who told you that if you haven't found your purpose yet, you failed? Everybody on social media. And again, this is why, oh my God, this is why I say that you can't always listen to everything that you hear and see on social media. Every time you scroll, let me show you how to. Are you guys feeling like this, then that? If you're stuck in this point and I can get you to get that feel. Every time you scroll, it's always someone trying to teach you to do something, to pay this, to pay that. So that way you can make the same amount of money as they did and learn the techniques that they did, but not for free, but for a cost, and telling you that you're not doing enough. You still clocking in at that 9 to 5? Let me show you how to get rich. The last time that I clocked in at 9 to 5 was 4 years ago, and baby, I haven't been back since. So here we go. And don't get me wrong, I'm not shutting anybody down who has done this. That's great. That's where your life has taken you. That's your purpose. If you feel happy about it, then absolutely 110% continue to do it. But let's be honest. Some of you are just doing it for the money. You're not doing it for no real purpose, but for the money. We have to separate God's plan from society's expectations. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean God said no. Sometimes it's a not yet. Sometimes it's no, not that. And sometimes it's I have something completely different for you. And then there are times where God will allow you to do it, allow you to take that leap of faith and do what you think is better for you, until you get popped in the head with the reality of it, or if something doesn't work out the way it's supposed to, and the consequences come from behind it. And now you're asking and begging God, like, why did this happen? And 9 times out of 10, he's sitting there telling you, well, I never told you to go for it. You went for that because God gives us free will. But you have to listen to the voice that tells you, maybe not. So let's take it to church on this Tuesday night. The Bible doesn't promise us a certain timeline. So let's bring it to scripture, right? If you look at Ecclesiastes 3 verses 1, it says, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." So the point isn't that everything happens when we want it to happen. It's that there is a season for everything. You may be in your waiting season. You may be in your pushing. You got to push through season. You may be in your everything is taken from you season. You may be in your fruitful season. And everything that you've been working hard for is happening for you. But I think where the reality has to set in, especially for those of you who show and promote everything on social media, you have to be honest as to how you got there. Because if you're just telling people that, oh, I just did this, and not showing the bad behind it, you're really not being authentic as to how the struggle and what seasons you had to go through in order to get to where you are now. If we look at Psalms 27:14, "Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart." Waiting doesn't mean God forgot about you. Okay, let's just understand that. Waiting can mean God is developing you. So if you feel like you feel a shift happening within you, you no longer like to hang out at certain spots, you're probably changing the way you dress, you probably put down the drinking or drink less, you see yourself going to the gym, doing yoga, running, you find yourself in this, I don't really care to do the same things that I used to do, and wondering why it's happening. Like you're just tired of the old version of you. This is God developing you in a different way. Even outside of that, let's just think of characteristics. If all you ever did was always argue or scream or shout or talk negative or just gossip or whatever, and that's no longer you, that is God developing you into someone who he wants you to be for possibly the partner who is waiting for you, or for the career that's coming your way, or for the life-changing experience, I guess, or expectation that's happening, that you're waiting for to happen. But you cannot bring the old version of you into that. You guys have heard the saying that everybody in your circle can't go with you when you're trying to level up. There's some people who will stay with you, but there's some people that you're going to have to leave behind because their mentality is not the same. It's the same thing when it comes to yourself. God cannot put you in these positions to meet these people, to meet this career, to meet the CEO of this, to move you into that area if you are staying at the same person as the same person who you are currently. It's not going to happen because you're going to destroy it. And why would God want you to destroy what it is he has put in place for you to make you happy and fulfilled in your life? Why would he do that? Isaiah 40:31. "Those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength." The Bible doesn't portray waiting as punishment. Waiting is preparation. So while we don't like to wait, we hate having to, I think even the hardest thing is having to wait on somebody and something that we don't physically see. I feel like that's the hardest part, because yes, okay, you can see your friends, you can see your family, you can see your boss and everything else, and you can see people changing, and you can see the weather changing, you can see colors changing, you can see everything. But when you're being asked to wait on a spirit, wait on someone who is bigger than you and I and anybody else in this world to act for your, in your favor, it's difficult to do because you don't know when he's going to do it. You know he's going to do it, or you should know he's going to do it, but you just don't know when. That can honestly be one of the hardest things, at least for myself, to understand, like, okay, I'm waiting, end up like tapping your foot, clicking your nails, like, okay, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And you never know, 2-3 years from now, you're still waiting. But what are you doing during the preparation season? Now, this is for all of the lovers, all of us single girlies and single guys out there. Let me talk to you guys, right? For women, for all of us who are wondering, where's my husband? Why does everyone get chosen? Am I getting too old? Is anybody really going to even want me at this age? Is there something wrong with me? Did I miss my chance? Please understand this. Being single is not evidence that you're undesirable. And being married isn't evidence that someone has won. So let's not get it twisted. Marriage isn't a prize given to the woman who gets her life together faster. And being in a relationship doesn't automatically mean someone is in the right relationship. You could be in a relationship and it's not for you. You can be in a relationship just for the time being to let time pass because you don't want to be single, but that's not even good for yourself either. Don't let loneliness convince you to accept the wrong person simply because you're afraid of running out of time. What I'm basically saying is, bitch, don't settle. If you feel like this is not what you want, if all the boxes on your list are not being checked off, don't sit here and settle for less just because you feel like you're running out of time. Because when it's all said and done, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret the fact that you never stood on business. You're going to regret the fact that you never told this man or this woman that, damn, you were good for the moment, but I really didn't want to marry you. I really didn't want us to have kids. I really didn't want to be in this relationship for as long as I was in it. Sometimes God places people in your life for a lesson, for a season, and you have to figure out which one is which. And when you know you're not supposed to be in a relationship and you know you have to walk away, you'll also start to feel God shift your perspective as well. I've said this a million times and I'll say it again. One of the most dangerous things that you can ask God, and the way that God moves so damn swiftly like a gust of wind, is to ask him to remove anybody, even a relationship, from your life that is not serving his purpose for your life. If you're wasting your time, if you're chosen the wrong one, if they have chosen you, but you were so infatuated with how they looked, how they smelled, the things that they have, the material things, what they drive, blase. If all of that attracted you to them and it's not within God's will, ask him to remove it. And you'll see how quickly your perspective and how quickly the shift in the relationship changes. I kid you not. It happens all the time. The wrong relationship can cost you more than waiting ever will. Settling, I'll say this, right? Settling because you're tired of dating. Everyone around you is getting married. You want children. You're afraid you'll never find someone else. You don't want to start over, which is another big one that I feel like we really have to talk about, is this whole starting over shit that people are so scared of. Listen, matter of fact, we're going to talk about it right now. Start over as many times as you need to start the fuck over. If you have to start over after dating someone for 2 years, 3 years, 5, 10, so be it. Because again, do you want to go down 5, 10 years later with regret that you never spoke up to say how you really felt? Or would you rather start over with someone else, getting to know them, knowing that, you know what, maybe this isn't it? It's okay. Society has also placed that stress on relationships that it's a bad thing to start over. It's not. It's okay. You can go on dates to find out who the person is for you. Would you rather, and this is the questions, okay? Would you rather wait for the right man or woman, or rush into the wrong relationship because you're afraid of your age? Think about that. If you're in a relationship right now and you're starting to feel like, man, this is just not it, but I don't want to break his heart, but I don't want to break her heart, but you feel deep down this is not it for you, do you feel like you will be okay years later, down the line, wasting not only their time, but your time, just because you don't want to be old and single or old with no children. So I did a lot of soul searching, but also reading and understanding that God's timing when it comes to marriage. There's a difference between waiting on God and doing nothing. And I want to be very clear when I say this, especially for my girls who love to just stay in the house and don't like people and this and that and the third. I love you. I love y'all down. I really do. But I have to let you understand something. Your husband is not going to knock on your door. This is not a Rapunzel kind of story. This is not a Cinderella kind of story. It's not gonna happen, babes. It's not. You have to do the work as well as waiting on God. You have to date intentionally. So if you know what you want, you've put out there what it is you're looking for, because 9 times out of 10 that's going to be the question that's going to be asked. So what are you looking for? You name those shits of what it is you want. I want a husband. I want children. I want a man who's emotionally stable. I want stability. I want financial security. I want us to have fun. I want us to whatever it is. You put it out there. You put the cards out, and you let it be known from jump. And gentlemen, make sure you do the same thing. And please, for the love of God, do not sugarcoat it. Do not say, okay, that sounds good. Like, yeah, I like that too. Knowing good and goddamn well that's not what you want. If that is not what you want, please leave that gentleman alone. Please leave that woman alone. There are other women and other men out here who are cool with just having a good time, who are cool with not having or not taking anything serious. There are men and women out there. Trust me, I know. There are. Find them. Date them. Fuck on them. Have a good time with them. But please leave the ones who have intentions and are dating with intentions alone. While you're waiting for marriage also, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you remember to heal. Heal from your past. Heal from what didn't happen. Let go of what didn't happen. Speak to God about it. Cry about it. Get angry. You may have a moment of just needing to talk to God by yourself on a drive, by the water, on a walk, whatever it is. Learn yourself over. Take yourself on dates, whether it's getting your nails done, getting your hair done, coffee run, staying at a Barnes & Noble's, reading a book, whatever it is. Learn yourself again. Build your life. Develop your standards. Become emotionally mature. Learn how to communicate. Become financially responsible. Start writing down where your money is going. Make a financial plan for yourself. Build a community. Have friends who are not just your friends, but people who you can call your sisters, your brothers. People who your children will call your aunts, their uncles, their aunts and their uncles, their godparents. Become the woman you want to be. Become the woman that you can be, because you can. We all can. You're not waiting for life to begin. You're living while you're waiting. Go outside. Go to the club. Go to the lounge. And go travel. Go do things that you haven't done before. Me and my friends have always talked about we're going to do puppy yoga. We're doing the NFL dates to this season. Football is back, my favorite time of the year. We're going to do the NBA games. We're doing all of these things, and we're making plans, and we're sharing the calendar, and we're putting things out there of what it is that we want to do. Enjoy life while you're waiting for the man to come when he's supposed to come. You don't know where he's going to show up at. That's the thing. He could show up at the Barnes & Nobles. He could show up at the coffee shop. He could show up while you're doing your laundry. He could show up while you're traveling to wherever your next trip is. He could show up at the fucking football game, the basketball game, at that lounge, at the happy hour. You don't know. You never know where the hell he will show up at. The whole point is just to enjoy your life, take pictures, be with the people who you like and who you love, and let it just flow naturally. Let it just happen. Your career, it doesn't have to make sense yet. And I say this because I myself am in transition to a new career myself. I said, like I told you guys, I had this whole idea of what it is that I wanted to do and where I saw my life going. I was to take the NYPD test, become a detective, and, move within the department. However, it worked out for me. And that was my whole idea of how I saw my life going. Didn't happen that way. And while, yes, my job, or I guess I could say the career that I'm in now, because people have made a career out of it, isn't terrible, but it's not one that I saw myself being in for too long. And I got comfortable. Money was great. Money is great. And why leave? But I don't feel fulfilled in where it is that I'm at. So I'm like, you know what? I have to make the shift. I have to take the leap of faith. I have to jump. So that's what I did. And that's what I'm doing. But who told us that by 30, the career had to be right? Yes, our parents did. Their parents told them that they had to have it all by this time, or it had to make sense by this time, which then told us the same thing. I should be further in my career. But maybe you need to change your career. And what does that look like? Maybe you have to go back to school. If you want to get into, let's say, being a doctor, engineering, being a lawyer, a nurse, anything that really requires a degree and having to really have studies, which is what I believe which I would even tell my children, but I would tell anybody who has kids in high school within, if this is their last year in high school as seniors or even juniors, figure out what it is you want to go to college for that actually needs a degree. Because today, if we're being honest, you don't need a degree for half the fucking jobs that are out here now. You need more experience and who you know than you need a degree. It's one thing if you want to become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, something that really requires a study. But liberal arts, please forget about that shit. Criminal justice, depends. It really, really, really depends. But that's teetering on the not so much. Psychology, yes, you do. Certain things you do need degrees in, but I don't feel like every single career you do. You might have to start over if you want to start a business, learn about how you want to do this business, whatever it is. And it's not a bad thing if you're choosing to do that now. I think I've mentioned this before where Vera Wang, I think, made her first dress at 40, if I'm correct, or 47. I think it was 40. And now look at her. Dresses all over the world. Other designers who have started real late in life. Millionaires who have started late in life, in their 40s, in their 50s. You're not behind. You're figuring it out. It's okay. You could breathe. Just breathe. Starting over at 30 isn't failure. You aren't starting from zero. You're starting from experience. Think of it that way. Everything you've lived through taught you something. Your 20s may have been about figuring out who you are. Your 30s can be about becoming intentionally who it is you're trying to be. You could have had fun in your 20s. You could have enjoyed your life. You went partying. You worked behind the bar, or you worked in retail, or whatever the hell may have been in your 20s. And now in your 30s, you're like, okay, I really want to settle in and get my shit together. That's fine. No one needs to have everything together by a certain age, especially with the way society, economy, and everything is changing rapidly. There are so many different ways to become who it is you want to become. Now, before we end this episode, please understand this. The danger of rushing God, it's not something that you want to do. Sometimes we become so desperate to reach the destination that we stop asking God whether the destination is even right for us. So we say things like, God, give me a husband. But maybe God is saying, let me teach you what healthy love looks like first. We often can say, God, give me that career. I need that career right now because the financial studies, like the financial hardships is not it. And I can't fathom having to deal with this and that and the third. You know, when we start talking to God, we start talking all proper and shit. But maybe God is saying, let me prepare you for the responsibility that comes with it. We can say, God, I really want to have a baby. Listen, I'm getting older. You know what, I'm getting older. It gets harder as we get, older. Our eggs and menopause and premenopausal. Like, I want to have a baby, and this is stressing me out. But maybe he's saying, let me prepare your heart, your home, your finances, your relationship, and your support system before you bring this baby in. The delay doesn't necessarily mean denial. Sometimes preparation happens in the space between prayer and manifestation. You have to do both. You have to tell yourself, I'm going to be someone's wife. I'm going to have a baby or babies. I'm going to have that career that I've been praying on. I'm going to have that financial security, this financial stability that I wanted. Speak it into existence, because it's going to happen. But it's going to happen when God sets his time, because maybe you're not as ready as you think you are, like I've said before. So I guess the uncomfortable question, what if God's timeline is different? So what if the life God has for you doesn't look like the life you thought you'd have at 25? Because for me, like I said before, it's definitely not. The life I thought I would be living is not the life that I'm living right now. But it's not terrible. My life is pretty good. Maybe your husband will come later. Maybe motherhood comes differently. Maybe you change your careers at 35. Maybe you move somewhere you never expected, to a whole nother state. Maybe you finally build that business that you've been talking about but never executed. Maybe you become a completely different woman than the one you imagined. And probably for the best. The goal isn't to force God to bless the blueprint you created. The goal is to trust him with the blueprint that he's created. The goal is also to trust him enough to let him rewrite your story. Because, like I said, I know it's hard to trust someone that you know exists, but that you don't see. It's hard to trust a spirit that you know lives within you, but you just can never see it or put your hands on it. It's difficult to trust the things that we don't see. But maybe that's what God wants us to do. Maybe God wants us to trust his timeline over our own. So, to end all of that, how do we eventually stop feeling so left behind? 1, stop measuring your life against other people's milestones. You are not them, they are not you. Your life is not their life, and their life is not your life. What may happen to you or has happened to you at 25 is not what happened to them at 25. What's going to happen for you at 32 is not going to happen, did not happen for them at 32. And where you will be in the next 4 years will probably be different from where they're at in the next 4 years. And just because it feels like you're not moving and that you're stuck, it doesn't mean that something is not happening behind closed doors. I had to understand that while I kept applying for jobs and I kept trying to get out of this career that I'm in now, when I kept trying to fix and change everything, God was doing internal work within me. That was the whole point of me having this moment of pausing and what season that I was in. And don't think that a season is just like, the ones that we know, spring, summer, fall, winter. A season could last a very long time. And it's not until God feels like you are absolutely ready that then he will move you. But until then, he will have you stay in that exact season until you get it right. Because again, he doesn't want you to mess up what it is he's been trying to do for you. 2, define success for yourself. So ask yourself, what do I actually want? And don't ask, What am I supposed to want? You're supposed to want exactly what you want. Don't look at everyone else and expect your want to be the same as theirs. Yeah, I get it. We all want the happily ever after. Yes, we all want to travel. Yes, we want to have the children. Yes, we want to have the funds. We want to have everything. But sometimes your timeline is not going to look the same as theirs. Stop making age your identity. Yes, you're 30. Welcome. Yes, you're 35. Congratulations. Some people don't even make it to 35. Yes, you're 40. Some people don't even make it to 40. That's not a deadline. It's just a chapter. 4, build a life you want now. Don't postpone happiness until you get married. Don't postpone travel until you have enough money saved up. Don't postpone dressing up until you lose weight. Don't postpone living until everything falls into place. Just do it. Plan it. Put it together. You may have to pick up some overtime. You may have to not, do your nail. And that's terrible to say that, to not do your nails for a while. You may have to save up some money somewhere to not have something done because you're trying to do something else. So be it. You may have to make some sacrifices. But continue to enjoy your life. Go outside. Call out. If you haven't been out in a very long time and you normally work on the weekends, the job will be okay. Call out, enjoy your night with your friends or by yourself, and let your life continue even though you're waiting for God's major blessing to happen in your life. 5, make sure you guys trust God without becoming passive. Pray, move, apply, date, learn, heal, build, take risks, and let God handle what you cannot control. Because you trying to control everything is only going to make you spiral. It's only going to cause you more heartache. It's only going to cause you more frustration. And little do you know, that frustration and heartache turns into anger. And then it shows as you interact with people. You have to let go of what you want. Not in the sense of like, okay, well, I'll just take anything. No. But controlling when it's going to happen, who it's going to be, exactly when it's going to happen, the exact time, the exact month. Let it be. It will happen when it's supposed to happen. And finally, become comfortable with uncertainty. You don't need to know exactly what your life will look like 5 years from now. I know we tend to ask that question, especially on dates. So what does your life look like in the next 3 to 5 years? The way this world is going, no one knows. You can have a plan. It's not wrong to have a plan. And it's not wrong for you to execute and make it happen. But sometimes if the blessings don't happen in the way you thought it would, or if you executing your plan isn't working out how you thought it would, maybe it's because God said, yeah, no, that's not what I want you to do. Or maybe it's no, not yet. Or you have a little bit more work to do. You just need enough faith to take the next step. So, here are some questions that I want you guys to answer. Some that I had to answer myself. Have you ever considered settling because you were afraid you wouldn't find better? Would you rather have the career you thought you wanted at 30 or discover your true purpose at 35? And what are you waiting on God for right now? What do you need God to do for you in this exact moment right now? I'll end it like this. You're not late. You didn't miss your life. You didn't miss your chance. You're not too old. You're not forgotten. You're not disqualified because your life doesn't look like someone else's. You're still becoming who you were supposed to be. You're still growing. You're still learning. You're still being prepared. You're still young. Forget what everybody else says about you being auntie and big sis and my knees this, my back this. You're still young. We just had a lit ass teenage year. We had a lit ass 20s decade. We were doing what these little young heads now will never understand what it's like to do. We had fun. We enjoyed ourselves. And now it's time that we figure out what's next. God is not looking at your life with the stopwatch that society has given you. You don't have to panic because you're 30. You don't have to settle because you're 35. You don't have to give up because you're 40. Your life doesn't expire because you've reached a certain age. There's still purpose in you. There's still love available for you despite how nasty the pool may be. There are still dreams inside of you. There are still doors you haven't walked through yet. And there are still prayers God can answer. And there are still chapters you haven't even read about your life. So please do me a favor and stop mourning the life you thought you would have by now. And start trusting God with the life He's still writing. Because it's not over until it's over. It's not over until God says, "Well done, my child." I hope this episode has helped you guys understand that we're not behind. We're right where God wants us to be. And I think that has given me a lot of peace in the last 2 to 3 years, having to come to that understanding that I am where I'm supposed to be because I had to learn some lessons in life for myself and for other people as well. Things had to change. Some people had to disappear, had to leave. And my perspective had to shift because like when I told you earlier, and I've said plenty of times, I had my timeline written already. I had it all written out. Now I just have what I'm praying for, what I'm manifesting, and what I'm going to continue to do my part. And that's being consistent now that the summer has come to an end. Being consistent, giving you guys more episodes. But going back to the live as well. So I told you the last two Tuesdays, I don't know what was going on. But yeah, it was a lot going on for whatever reason. Nonetheless, coming back with the lives, having grown conversations, and speaking about mature topics, you know? So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I hope you guys have a great night. Whatever happened into today, leave that shit into today. Don't bring it into tomorrow. I love you guys for listening. Make sure you like, comment, and share. I'll catch y'all next week. Later.